Hello, everybody, and welcome. The UFL regular season has just ended. Playoff week is here, and thus the final edition of Power Rankings as well, as these are Power Rankings for the Conference Championship week of the UFL. So if you're a new subscriber, we greatly appreciate it. Leave a like and comment down below your own thoughts on how you think the playoffs will go. Now let's get right into it. Since this is Power Rankings for the playoffs, we're only going to cover 4 teams, which are the teams remaining, and thus number 4 is the DC Defenders. They started Mike DeLeo this week. DC was a team that was already looking towards the playoffs and not really caring about this game, despite it being against St. Louis. Plus, there was also a 47-minute weather delay, so that did not help the product on the field at all. But even in all that, I feel like DeLeo played just fine. 18 for 26, 142 yards, and a touchdown late to make this a more appealing box score. He also led the team in rushing with 60 yards on 10 carries. Abram Smith was the main back in this one as they were kind of resting Deion Jackson a bit, and he played decent, 43 yards on 11 carries. And all around, that's pretty much how this game can be described, as just decent. The defense, though, did play really well. They held St. Louis scoreless in the second half, and they only gave up a touchdown on the opening drive before the weather delay kicked in. But again, it's against St. Louis's backup, so how much stake can you really put into all that? I'm gonna put a decent bit into it, mainly because that when these two teams played earlier on in the season, the defense also played really well in that game. So we'll see. I'm expecting the defense to step up, but that's for predictions later on this week. All around though, DC is a team that could definitely make a splash here in the playoffs. They're the only team that didn't make it from last year, and they are intriguing to me because of that. It's gonna come down to Jordan Teamu though. If he can play smarter with the football and keep his inaccuracies down a bit, DC is a very scary team to go up against. They come in at number 4. Number 3 is the Michigan Panthers. I felt like Rocky Lombardi played well in this one, in his one half of action, and his stats weren't anything that really jumped out the page. They weren't nothing special. He did throw a pick 6 that kind of cost Michigan this game, but all around, he played with a sense of confidence that I really liked throughout the entire one half he was able to play, and it does make me believe he can be the guy going forward for Michigan, assuming Bryce Perkins finds his way to the NFL roster in the offseason. He also ran well this evening. He had a 49-yard touchdown that was called back, but even on top of it, he had about 30 yards rushing and played well in this game. Nathan McCrary ran well, being the main back in this one with Toa Tawa having the game off as he's resting for the playoffs. And it was good seeing Matthew Colburn back, and he ran fine on his limited amount of carries. It was 27 yards for 4 carries. The defense performed a lot better than it did last week, especially on third downs. Again, last week they were 11 for 13 on third down in terms of Birmingham converting 11 times on 13 tries. This week they held Houston to 3 for 12, so a much better performance against a vastly different team. We'll see if they have a similar performance next week against Michigan. But the key thing is they have yet to beat Michigan this season and really in the UFL as a whole. So next week's going to be a massive one on the road for them. For now, though, they come in at number 3. Number 2 is the Birmingham Stallions, and that is a win that can give you a lot of momentum entering the playoffs. One of the more lopsided wins we have seen in the UFL, with multiple pick sixes involved in this one. Tay Crowder had both of them. Kenny Robinson was playing really well in this game, both in his safety position on defense and also as a special teams player. Jamar Smith is playing really well as he's being signed mid-season, and it is a very fair argument to make that he might just be the starter for the playoffs. Again, playing really well in his one half of action this week. He went 13 for 17, 127 yards, and a touchdown. And playing really well. Had 300 yards passing last week in the win over Michigan. Really like what Jamar Smith has shown from us. Ricky Person and Larry Roundtree both ran well in this game, and the game was over by halftime. So again, they ran well in a factor that they didn't really need to do much in the second half. The defense wreaked havoc against Dresser Win in this rematch from the overtime loss a few weeks back. And again, they're back at Protective Stadium next week for the playoffs. They look to four-peat. This is a team that is not going to go down without a fight, even though my main concern is not the players themselves. It is the tendencies that we've seen this season from Skip Holtz. I am concerned about his play calling and just all around the tendencies he has brought through challenges, timeout calling, decision making, all of it. We'll see how much of an impact it has. This team still went 7-3 and is looking to four-peat under Skip Holtz, so it's a concern I have, but he has dispelled it before. He just needs to dispel it once more. The Stallions come in at number 2. And number 1, the St. Louis Battlehawks. Once again, that was a nice win, and it means that the rubber match is next week in this season series between DC and St. Louis. The Battlehawks continue to show that they have a style and they are willing to stick with it no matter what. The weather delay did not impact their ground game whatsoever. Jarvion Howard still ran for close to 90 yards. Kevon Latulis not far behind with close to 60. The defense played really well in this game, holding DC scoreless until late in the fourth quarter. And again, by that time, the game was pretty much already out of reach. I feel like Brandon Silvers played well in this game, although he was not asked to do much at all. Only 8 pass attempts in this game. Again, the weather definitely played a factor in that. And most of his pass attempts did come early on. Hakeem Butler had a nice grab on the opening drive of the game that led to the only touchdown for St. Louis in this one. They're back at the Dome for the playoffs, and it's one of the best home field advantages of the UFL. So it can be a great test to see for St. Louis. They were in this spot last year and laid an egg against San Antonio. Can they avoid doing the same thing again and actually make the championship this year? We shall see. You already know how big of a fan I am of what Anthony Beck and the entire squad over there in St. Louis has going for it. I'm a big Max Duggan fan as well, a big 12 all the way. And just all around, I like what St. Louis has. Jacob Sailors is a great running back. They can pass the ball well if they need to. That defense is fantastic. The St. Louis Battlehawks, for me, are the number 1 ranked team in the UFL. Well, there you have it. Power rankings for the championship week of the UFL. This is the final week of Power Rankings, so I hope you enjoyed this season. It's weird that the season's coming to an end already. We're in June, kind of weird. But quick little rundown. DC at 4, Michigan at 3, Stallions are at 2, and the St. Louis Battlehawks round things out at number 1. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.